Hey everyone, welcome back to XVolt Tech. This is an HP Envy X630 M6, and I got this recently from my family members who broke it and got a new one. It's actually perfectly working. The only issue is this part of the screen right here, where they actually dropped it and it caused a bunch of issues with the touchscreen, and I fixed it by just disabling it. So what am I going to be doing with this? Well, based on a benchmark that I did, this PC is apparently slightly faster than my Asus Q550LF. And so I'm going to be doing a few tests, really just one test, exporting a video from Sony Vegas to see if this thing can really perform a little bit better than the Q550LF. And then once I'm done with that test, I'm going to be putting a solid state drive into this in order to install Linux. And then later on in the future, I'm going to be replacing the battery and putting in a new SSD so I can have one drive on Linux and one drive on Windows. And yes, I will be replacing the screen, but not in this video. That's going to be coming sometime in early 2024. So I just reran the Geekbench 6 specifically, and as you can see, the Asus scored a 977 on single core and an 1876 on multi-core, and the HP scored 837 on single and 2158 on multi. I think because the main reason I'm going to be using a PC like this is mainly for like video editing, Minecraft, I guess, and like animation. So I think I might just go with this for multiple reasons too, because, well, having it be foldable would be good. It'd be a lot easier to do art on something like this rather than a non-foldable PC. It's also much thinner, significantly thinner than the Asus, and it still manages to keep a lot of ports in. I'm looking at you, Apple. So I think I am going to switch to this HP. One big downside to this Asus is that the speakers are down here, and on the HP they're up here. Let's compare what that sounds like. So next up, I am going to do in the field test. I've got this SSD here with a SATA to USB connector, and as you can see, I have Vegas Pro installed on both of these computers, and on here I have a video file that I'm going to be rendering on both of these computers, and for fairness, they're rendering to this exact same SSD to see which one will actually render it faster. I won't do it at the same time, obviously, so I'll be right back when that's done. Okay, the HP just finished rendering, and it clocked in at 18 minutes and 26 seconds. And the Asus has clocked 22 minutes and 43 seconds, which is a difference of about 4 minutes. So, I guess that settles it, but I will do one more test. So something else that I use these PCs for is playing Minecraft, and I decided to play on my often played Minecraft Beta 1.8.1 world, and the Asus was kind of struggling on it despite having a GeForce 745M graphics card, and it averaged about 15 to 30 frames per second depending on what was going on, which is what I was pretty much used to, as this is what I would use to game on the go. Now when I turned on this on the HP, I was completely surprised. This has an Intel HD graphics 620 graphics card, and I was extremely impressed with the fact that this was getting between 70 and 100 frames per second, and I was in complete awe when I saw this. Needless to say, this laptop really surprised me. Not only was it about 5 minutes faster in rendering video than the Asus, but it played Minecraft at over 3 times the frame rate. Goodbye to this laptop. However, I am going to be doing one thing kind of special. Not only am I going to be putting in a brand new battery into this laptop, but I'm also going to be putting in an M.2 SSD, alongside with a 2.5-inch SSD. The reason that I'm doing this is because I want to have Linux on one and Windows on another. Now that sounds really stupid, but honestly, it helps with Windows not breaking, as on the Asus over there, I've had lots of issues with my Windows 10 installation having issues after dual booting Ubuntu. So we're just not gonna let that happen anymore.
So I first attempted to use Clonezilla to copy my hard drive over to the SSD. However, I couldn't get Clonezilla to work as there was no tutorial on how to actually install it on Linux, only on Windows. So instead I tried RescueZilla, and every time I tried that USB, it just wouldn't work. And so instead, I just decided to boot into Windows to try and use Macrium Reflect to do it instead, but every time I tried, my Macrium Reflect install would not work as the key was expired, so I just used my PC. The way I did this specifically was to take out the hard drive from the Asus, plug it into my PC, and then clone over the Linux partition. I initially forgot to clone the EFI partition, which would cause issues later on. So I just decided to clone the Linux partition over to the new SSD, and then at the same time while it was cloning, apply some new thermal paste and just clean it up a bit.
Okay, I just put in the SSD into the HP. Hopefully the Linux thing worked. Okay, it's turning on. Okay, it's gonna show the battery notice and the... Yep, okay. No boot device. Whoopsies. Okay, I'm gonna actually... okay, I'm gonna figure this out.
So my initial solution was to try and create an Ubuntu installation USB, but I'd later figure out that that would actually do nothing, and I decided to go and open up the old Asus once again and see which was the EFI partition. So then I went through the process of disassembling the entire computer again to take the hard drive out, just so that I can clone the EFI partition. And this was a nightmare of a process, but luckily the EFI partition copied, and I copied it over to the new SSD, so the computer could actually boot up for once, since the computer had no way of booting up before, hence the old issue.
Okay, so I recopied the hard drive this time with the EFI boot partition. So let's see if this works. Alright, it's gonna do the battery thing. Please boot. Okay, that's interesting because it still thinks that there's Windows on this. Oh, wait, there it is, Ubuntu. Oh. Is this gonna work? Oh, oh my god. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. I did it. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but it's currently 7:13, and I started this at around 4:13, so I've spent about 3 hours trying to get Ubuntu to work on this. And so far, as you just saw, I did get it to work just by putting in the EFI partition. But let's see if it does that right off the bat. The only reason it shows this screen is because there is no Windows installation, and it's looking for one. But because it can't find the Windows EFI boot, it freaks out a bit because there's only EFI boot for Linux. So I'm going to remove the Windows, as I've got on here, I'm going to remove the Windows from the boot menu. And yeah, the battery, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but the battery is swelling, and it holds only 14 or 1500, or I mean, not 1500, just 15 watt hours of power instead of the 55 it's supposed to have. At least it works. That's what I'm happy about. At least the minimum is that it works flawlessly. Okay. The Windows Boot Manager is now gone, and I had to type in the command there. It says no such file or directory. Let's see about that. Oh, I deleted... Oh god, I accidentally just deleted the EFI folder. Okay, at most, I have to just restore the thing again and then do this properly. Oh boy. Yeah, I royally screwed up by accidentally deleting the EFI folder. I'm gonna be back! Okay, I'm starting it up after deleting the partition. I mean, not the partition, the Windows EFI boot. Alright, HP battery alert. Let's just hit enter a few times. And it should go into the Ubuntu startup screen. And boom. We have got Ubuntu running on this. Success. Now time to fix the battery and install the secondary hard drive in the future, because that hasn't arrived yet. So after waiting way too long, I finally got both the battery and the new hard drive. The battery looks official enough. It even has the HP spare sticker saying it was manufactured just a few months ago. Let's just go ahead and repair. Let me know if there's a better way to open this, because just using this thing is the best way I've figured out to open it because of these clips. Yeah, based on what I'm seeing, this does seem pretty official. One problem I do have with this is that the cable's on the wrong side. Oh, so they just printed the battery upside down because it's supposed to be like this. Huh. Okay, whatever then. Luckily for me, this has a Phillips, so it's gonna be pretty easy to take out. I'm sure the upside down print won't be a big deal. I mean, yeah, it might be a third-party battery because guess what? HP doesn't sell these batteries anymore. Then we just lift this out. Ugh. Some dust on the bottom of this. Ew. Okay, so as for right now, I'm just gonna put 2 of the screws in. I'm gonna open this up and just see if this battery does have any charge. Okay, there's a light. See if we get the battery notice. Why is the caps lock key shining? Okay, so I looked up the issue and apparently this is a RAM issue, and I think that is very weird because I haven't touched the RAM? How is there a RAM error? As you can see, it turns on. All I did was I took out a RAM stick and it works now. So it's good to know that I didn't short out the freaking motherboard, because I've been stressing out this whole time, hoping to God I didn't just ruin this computer. So all that was pointless. I love you, HP. This is why you're my favorite laptop company. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? Put me on a wild goose chase, thinking I might have killed my damn computer just for it to work. Because I reseated the RAM multiple times, mind you. So the fact that it just decided to work is incredible. Actually, while we're in here, and I'm not going to screw everything in just yet, I'm going to unbox the SSD. How am I going to screw this in? Okay, so I don't have a screw. Shoot. Okay, so I just ordered some M.2 screws and that's going to be arriving in a few days. But I think I'm going to cut out the copying Linux to the M.2 and then copying Windows 10 to the hard drive, because this video is already long enough. And plus, I just want to get this thing working now and get this video out. So I'm going to just take my win here now that I have the working laptop with a working battery. For now, I'm just going to emulate Windows 10 using a virtual machine and then do this process on my own once I get the screws. So, thanks for watching this mess of a video. I hope you enjoyed this seemingly 3-in-1 video. Again, thanks for watching. This really took a lot of work. So, goodbye.